On the heavyweight, Wiz pulls the number 2 seed first round, and I thought was a pretty good matchup for him.
Nelson, Minnesota ended up winning the national title.
And when you stand next to Nelson, you realize he actually is a huge individual.
He's a monster. I had to look up at him about.
See his six-pack rip through his singlet. Pretty.
He is a monster, but you know, Wiz went after him. And I think he ended up losing 8-0. But you know, that guy's gonna be back. He's a sophomore, so Wiz has to close the gap and find a way to beat him next year, and we're gonna be working on it from now until then.
I think Wiz found himself in the only person in his weight class to have a pigtail in the wrestleback. So he had a long road ahead of him. He needed to win 5 matches in a row to become an All-American. And
the first round back in that pigtail match, who's he draw? Drexel's Kyle Frey, who he's had some good battles with. He completely dominated and broke Frey again, this time worse than any of the other matches. Every time he wrestled him, he lost to him the first time. They wrestled at the beginning of the year. It was his first college loss. And then he beat him 2 straight times coming into this match and beat him worse both those times. And this time he beat him worse again. So completely dominated the guy and moved on into that second round, which was a huge, first round pigtail match. And then in the next round, he had Pete Capone from nearby Johnson City, just across the street inside Ohio State. Capone's had a very good year and is a very, very tough opponent. They had a great match.
Scrambles won the match.
Wiz created scrambles and found himself on top and ended up getting a fall, which was huge for team points and huge for himself because, like I said, Capone has done a great job there and is a very, very tough opponent. And then he had Williamson from West Virginia. Williamson was top 12 2 years ago and hurt last year, and Wiz went out and completely dominated him. Wrestled awesome.
Yeah, same thing. Got into scrambles. Kid couldn't keep up with him. Threw legs in on top and rode the kid. He looked
got his shots, scored his shots.
Looked like a seasoned heavyweight out there, not a true freshman. Pretty impressive.
And then and that was round of 16, round of 12, the round of All-American. He beats from Penn State, returning All-American, 6th seed Cameron Wade. Huge win for him. I believe he's down.
Was down 2-0.
He got taken down in the first period.
He got out and then took the kid down at the end of the first to go up 3-2.
And he got rode for like a minute and a half that first period. And then he really started getting himself going and came back, and I think he won 7-3 or 8-3, something like that. Completely, crushed the guy the next 5 minutes and went after him and had it wrestle with a chip on his shoulder, and that was the one that made him place, and he was the only true freshman All-American heavyweight, and he's gonna be focusing on not being a 4-time All-American, which is a special thing. He's gonna be focusing on being a 3-time national champion. That's the next goal for him.
Yeah. Then in his next round, he had McMullen from Northwestern, who is about Gwiz's size. Just an athletic kid, looks like he's a football player. Gwiz actually out-wrestled the kid, was in on a bunch of shots, and McMullen played the edge real well. The match was tied, I believe, 3-3 with about 30 seconds left, and Gwiz needed to ride him out to take off the riding time and send it to overtime, and the kid was able to get out with about 15 seconds left, and that was the match.
And that dropped him into 7th and 8th. And in that 7th and 8th place match, he wrestled Jeremy Johnson of Ohio, who wrestles very, very hard for heavyweight, and he scored with an underhook to a high shot on him early, and he out-wrestled Gwiz a little bit the first period, and then Gwiz, started very slow. That match was a little sluggish, and didn't wrestle quite as well that match as he did the other matches. Ended up dropping that bout, but again, a true freshman All-American, first one in school history. Did a great job overall, won 5 straight matches to place, and he's got a great, great future ahead of him.
And then finally moving on to Donnie Vincent, goes in the tournament the 4th seed, and he pulls Lester of Oklahoma first round, who he had beaten up in the dual meet earlier this year, 7-2. He went out there, wrestled a little hesitant, but didn't wrestle bad, and was beating Lester for most of the match, and got caught in a scramble at the end of the 3rd period and gave up 2, and that was it. And I think he lost 5-3 or 7-5, somewhere in there. And that was it was a little bit of a shock, and it sent Donnie into the wrestlebacks, where he'd have
Osterman of Michigan State.
Michigan State,
and now a lot of people he beat him in the overtime at Reno. A lot of people were like, "Oh, here we go." You know, Donnie lost. You know, he's not going to be able to bounce back from that. He didn't wrestle well that first match, and what happens? Osterman goes out, puts him on his back, almost pins him.
Yeah, the referee is actually going like this.
Next thing you know, Donnie comes out on top, sticks him, bam, match over. And then the next thing you know, Donnie just crushes everybody.
Donnie probably had the most impressive tournament. If he didn't lose that first round, he had the most dominant tournament besides Ed Ruth and David Taylor. Just annihilated people.
He won 7 straight matches to take third, which is very, very impressive. The last time that's been done, somebody dropped their first match and came all the way back was 7 years ago. So one of the most dominant performances after that first match, and he was the talk of the tournament.
Yeah.
After that.
So after he pins Osterman, he has Corey Jansen from Harvard, who is you know, definitely dark horse to win the tournament for a lot of people. And last time they wrestled, Jansen had majored Donnie, and Donnie came out on the upper hand this time with a 15-0 tech fall.
Completely dominated. Awesome match. At that point, you know, people were starting to take notice of him. We're like, wow, holy cow, this guy's good. So what's he do? He follows it up with a fall. He decides to go he wrestles Terezis from Illinois. So he sticks a half, runs him over, and sticks him.
Then next match, he has his round of 12 matches against Grajales from Michigan, who another dark horse for the tournament, ranked top 6 all year. Donnie just goes out there and dominates him. He majored him, I believe it was 10-2, or 10-11-3, something like that. And one of his points was a stall call, which was definitely not warranted. And the kid was just out there to try and hurt Donnie by the end of the match. But he came through that one, huge win.
And then we get paybacks with Lester.
Yeah.
He got a chip on his shoulder. And, you know, after getting upset first round, what's he do? He goes out and almost tech falls him.
16-5.
Scores all kinds of bonus points. He's throwing him around. He gets off bottom. He gets reversals. He gets takedowns. He turns them. It is an ugly match. How bad he beat him up. And wrestled like he's capable of doing. And then his very next match, he has Nauman of Pittsburgh, who's a returning All-American.
Top 6 guy all year. And he just goes out there, takes him down in the first 10 seconds, rides him. Takes him down in the second period, and then at the third period, the kid tries inside trip, front headlock to a gator roll. Donnie almost goes over.
Fights it.
My heart drops, but Donnie fights it and almost puts the kid on his back and scores a takedown. Wins the match 6-0.
And then for third place, he has Cam Tassari of Ohio State, who also dropped his first match and came all the way back for a third place match. So the guy's hot. They go out, and it is the match of the tournament. By far, people were talking about it all day. They got a standing ovation after the match there. People were on their feet clapping. It was an awesome match. If you can watch it, find it online. Go out of your way to see it. It was the best match of the tournament.
Guys trying to each throw each other for 5 points here and there. They're both throwing each other, and they're both like sitting 50-50 in the air. We don't know who's going to go their back, and neither of them go. And then, you know, the kid's on a tying takedown on the edge of the mat with time running out, and Donnie fights it off and takes third place and becomes Binghamton's highest place finisher ever, and, you know, propels Binghamton into the national spotlight once again. He
scored a ton of bonus points for the team. He came back strong after that first match, and, you know, like Jason said, finished third in the country, the highest place finisher ever. We had 2 All-Americans, which is the most we've had in 1 year, Division I. And, you know, overall, the guys did a great job. Obviously, we always want to see the guys do better, but we are pretty happy with what the guys accomplished this weekend and where we're at as a team, finishing 14th in the country. But now we start training for next year.
Yep.
We just finished our workout this morning to get ready to move into the top 5. That's the next step and win national titles.
See you guys.